On today's Smart 7, Suella Braverman ducks and dives, a mega find for Meta and lots more. It's Tuesday the 23rd of May, it's National Flapjack Day, and happy birthday Richard Ayoade.
The Smart 7. It's news, but not the news.
Home Secretary Suella Braverman spent Monday defending herself over accusations of a further breach of the ministerial code. It all centres around a speeding offence when she was Attorney General and her efforts to avoid public embarrassment. She was adamant that she's done nothing wrong.
I got a speeding ticket, I paid the fine, I took the points. In my view, nothing untoward has happened.
It's not the first time Suella's come under fire for rule breaking. She resigned from her first stint as Home Secretary last October after she was found to have breached the ministerial code by sending in an official document from her personal email address. And Shadow Home Secretary Yvette Cooper says she's clearly unfit to serve.
The Prime Minister is clearly too weak to sort this out. Well, if the Home Secretary cannot get a grip of her own rule-breaking behaviour, how can she get a grip on anything else?
Yeah. And as Prime Minister Rishi Sunak met with his independent ethics advisor on Monday to discuss the situation, former head of the Civil Service Lord Kerslake said it's time for him to take control.
Rishi Sunak's got a problem and he's going to need to deal with it sooner rather than later. He's got to do something because otherwise he's going to look, frankly, rather weak, and there's going to be another blow-up where the damage could be even greater.
Labour leader Sir Keir Starmer outlined his vision for improving the NHS on Monday. Apparently, the overhaul will take place in 3 steps, which will involve moving care away from hospitals and into communities, swapping to a prevention-first approach and making use of modern technology. Sir Keir says these changes could be transformational for England's healthcare system.
When you add this all together, the sum total of these 3 shifts, what you get is a plan for a future NHS that protects what is precious and embraces what is possible.
But there's some doubt over the veracity of Sir Keir's claims. In Wales, where the NHS is controlled by the country's Labour government, waiting times are typically far higher than in England. But Shadow Health Minister Andrew Gwynn says the situation in Wales shouldn't influence English voters.
Don't judge the next Labour government on what's happening in Wales. Judge the next Labour government on what we achieve here in England, as we did in 1997 to 2010, when we inherited an NHS that was similarly on its knees after a long period of Tory government.
Monday saw a group of anti-Kremlin Russian fighters launch an apparent cross-border attack, claiming to have overrun a village in Russia's Belgorod region. The Freedom of Russia Legion consists mainly of defectors of Russia's armed forces who say they want to liberate Russia from Vladimir Putin and condemn the invasion of Ukraine. 2 of the Legion's fighters recorded a video following Monday's attack, and they didn't make things sound great for Putin.
The key to the border is broken in half, and Grandpa Putin is completely defunct, and he will soon probably turn into maple syrup.
Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Zelensky was returning to Kyiv following his appearance at the G7 summit in Japan over the weekend. And despite concerns that Russian forces could be on the verge of capturing the city of Bakhmut, Zelensky says things are moving in a positive direction.
We are expecting new meetings and negotiations to a greater extent. Visits to us, to our state. There will be more weapons for our warriors. Every week, we add value for Ukraine.
Facebook's parent company Meta was fined €1.2 billion by the Irish Data Protection Commissioner on Monday for failing to comply with EU privacy regulations by sending European user data over to the US. Meta described the ruling as flawed and unjustified and announced they intend to appeal. It's the largest EU privacy fine ever issued, but Austrian privacy advocate Max Schrems said it could have been much higher. He first launched a legal campaign against Facebook back in 2013 and says Meta's a history of ignoring European privacy laws.
Meta is extremely bold in ignoring the GDPR and European law, and they've always been. And, so if you probably then are the person that gets the first big fine, it definitely hasn't really hit the wrong person there.
Still to come on the Smart 7, Newcastle secure Champions League football and Jude Law's got a new perfume. Right after this. Welcome back.
It was a game that both sides really wanted to win on Monday night, but neither Newcastle or Leicester could break the deadlock. In the end, a 0-0 draw sees Newcastle United qualify for Champions League football next season, and a single point could be enough to give Leicester some hope of avoiding relegation. Leicester sit in 18th now and have to win against West Ham on Sunday and hope that Everton lose at Bournemouth. Leicester manager Dean Smith said there were a lot of positives for his team.
Mentally for the players, it's the first clean sheet at half-time we've had in my first 7 games, so it was important that we did that. You can't open up here and go at them with the momentum that they have. So yeah, it was a tough watch at times, but I think you could see the players were fighting for it.
Ted Lasso's gearing up for its grand finale next week, although it's still not been confirmed whether this is the last we'll ever see of the lovable American football coach on our screens. Former SNL star Jason Sudeikis first created the character for an NBC commercial back in 2013 and has been doing the media rounds reflecting on the character's growth ahead of the show's season 3 finale. Here he is explaining to Virgin Radio's Chris Evans how Ted Lasso got his name.
And we just beat out ideas, just a few ideas, like something silly like missing a goal, having it go over the crossbar, and Ted thinking that was 3 points, like an American football field goal. And we just probably put out about 8 to 15 ideas. And in the moment of that, I just sort of was like, maybe it was the sky, maybe it was the water, maybe it was the friendship. But they were just like, what do we call the guy? I go, Ted Lasso.
Method acting has seen actors take their craft to extreme levels. I'm looking at you, Joaquin Phoenix, Daniel Day-Lewis and Jeremy Strong. But now Jude Law's taken things a step further and he's gone all in for a smell. The Academy Award-winning actor's currently swanning around the Cannes Film Festival ahead of the release of his new movie Firebrand, where he plays King Henry VIII. And while he's never described himself as a method actor, Jude apparently wanted to keep things realistic after discovering that the notorious Tudor king suffered with a foul-smelling leg ulcer.
I just thought it would have a great impact if I smelled awful, and I went to this brilliant perfumier and she somehow managed to come up with this extraordinary variety, which was pus, blood, fecal matter, and what was the last one? Sweat.
You've been listening to The Smart 7. We'll be back tomorrow at 7 a.m. Hit that follow button and have a great day. Give us 7 minutes, we'll give you the world.